Today we got the 67 Coupe to Fastback Conversion. So we have a Fastback trunk that we just painted. We got the top and the bottom painted. Now it's time to put the weather stripping on it. The weather stripping that we're going to use, and it's important to buy a quality weather stripping for these cars. If you get a kind of a generic one, a really cheap generic brand, they can be really thick, they can be really dense. And when you put them on your car and try to close the lid or trunk, they won't close all the way. You want to get a nice quality, soft weather stripping. This is the one we're using here. This is from Daniel Carpenter Mustangs. And I don't know if you can see that there, but part number. But Daniel Carpenter Mustang. It's for a 67, 68 Fastback, period. It's not generic for all years or anything else like that. It's not a coupe weather stripping. Fastback's a little bit different. They fit a little bit different. So this is what the Fastback weather stripping looks like. And you've got this domed top here, and you got this flat part down here. This flat part is actually where we're gonna mount this to the deck lid, the trunk lid. This part is going to go up. Well, actually it's going to go down. This is the way it's going to be mounted when the trunk is closed. This will be the bottom of the trunk lid, and this will be pushed down, and it will go into the pinch well around the body of the car itself. And if you see the way that that squeezes and closes up in there, you want that to close around the pinch well. That's what actually seals it. And that's the way we need to make sure we put it in. We don't want to put it in this way. It doesn't seal, it doesn't do the job it needs to do. There's a lot more pressure that way. It's designed to go around the pinch well just like that. So what we're going to do, the deck lid here, it's got a track that goes all the way around. It goes flat and goes all the way around the car. We're going to start by the trunk latch. This is going to be our starting point at the back of the trunk lid, and we'll work our way all the way around. We're going to use 3M Super Weather Strip adhesive, and there's a very specific way to put this on, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. This is contact cement, so it's nothing more than contact cement. So you don't put this on like caulking or a glue or anything else like that. You do not want to put a heavy bead of this down. What we're going to do is we're going to work small sections at a time, and I'll show you that here in a section. We're going to do probably about a 6-8 inches, put a small bead down. We'll spread that out just a little bit. We're going to put a small bead at about the same distance of what we have on the metal on the back of the weather strip. We'll spread that out just a little bit, and we're going to let both of those dry. We're not going to put them on. We're going to let those tack over where they get really tacky, and it's not pulling strings off or string of the, you know, when you touch it, you don't get strings of glue. You just want it tacky where it's almost getting ready to dry. When you have it at that point, then we're going to put another small bead onto, you can put it on this side or you can put it on here. It really doesn't matter. And then once you put it down and make contact, once those two pieces make contact, you've locked it down. You can't move it. You're not going to be able to move it. So you got to take your time, plan it out. Don't be in a rush. Don't be stressed out when you're going to be doing it. One of the things that I'll do, and I've done it already, but I'm going to do it again because it's been sitting for a couple days. I'm going to go around with a wax and grease remover in the area that I'm going to glue this down. This comes with a release agent on it when it's made. I will also use a wax and grease remover on this to take off any residue or anything else, so my glue will stick nice and solid to this as well. So wax and grease remover, or whatever you would use to remove wax and grease. I've used alcohol in a pinch if I didn't have it, like isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol. But since we're painting, I got plenty of wax and grease remover. Another thing, when this came in the package, it was all scrunched up in a package, and several areas had pretty large creases in them. Here's a small one right here. But I let it sit out overnight, and they really did relax and open up. So it's not visibly it doesn't look as bad visually when you put it on. You could do this on the car. I would recommend you take it off. It's so much easier to do it off the car. If by chance you did it on the car, or you did it on your doors or somewhere else on the car, once you glue this down, and let's say we put tape on it, let that sit for about 24 hours. Just let that dry naturally. Don't put this on and then as soon as you're done, close your door, close your trunk or whatever, because what that's going to do is when you close it, it's going to pull it and shift your material, and we don't want that. Last thing you want is to do your weather strip, close your trunk, and then open it up and find that it's shifted like this and you've got a bunch of exposed glue or anything else. All right, so I've got my wax and grease remover, and I've also got a clean rag that we're going to use to spray a little bit on my rag, get it wet, and I'm just going to go and clean and wipe up the area. I'm also going to do it on the weather stripping itself. I'm just going to get this good and wet. And then I'm paying attention to the area where I want it to stick. Remember, we're doing the small section. I'm just going to rub that and make sure we get any release agent or anything else that is on here off. We want this good and clean. We want to stick. We want to stay. We want this to last. Wiping it one time now with the dry section of the rag. I believe in double checking everything before I start it, so we're going to make sure that this actually goes all the way around and it's long enough, because the last thing we would want to do is start gluing this, get all the way around and be short an inch or two. So let's just verify it's long enough before we start putting it down. Mistakes do happen, it could be cut short. Like I said, it's hard to take the glue off of this brand new painted trunk lid, so let's do it right the first time and make sure we can get all the way around. And there's usually an inch or two extra. We got plenty there. Another thing that I'm using, I just got a paint stick. I broke a small section of it off just because I want it a little bit smaller than the weather strip itself. So when I put this on, I can put this on and spread it out a little bit. And I can also do the same in this area here. I don't want to use the fat end of it or something bigger because I don't want to spread it out past where the weather strip is going to sit. But we're going to start here in the center and work our way around. We're probably going to start with about 6 to 8 inches right here. I'm going to lay my material here. So when I put my glue here, I want to match the amount of glue that I'm going to put there. The goal is not to put a big giant bead. It's going to be a nice small bead. I'm just trying to find where center is. I've got that laid out. I've got a bigger bead right here, so I'm just going to take my paint stick, spread that out a little bit. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to match about the same amount on the weather strip as what I just put down. Again, we don't need a big giant bead. I'm just putting a real small bead down. And then cap up your glue as quick as possible. It will dry really quick and get harder to work with for you. So you can see I don't have a big giant bead, but we're just going to spread that around a little bit. Less is more. We don't need a lot, and this doesn't require a lot. Put a little more in the end there. So you can see what I've done there. There's not a whole lot. And we've smoothed it out a little bit. So this is going to be our end where we're going to stick it. So I'm going to just put a little tiny bit more. And then I'm going to spread that out. I'm going to spread it backwards. And all we're doing, and I'm pushing that down into the rubber. We want to spread that out a little bit. You can feel it's already starting to dry. It's really hot. We're in Florida, so it's really, really hot. So if I go and touch this now, it's not stringy at all. There's no strings coming up. It actually feels like it's dry. All of this does. It doesn't take long, probably only a minute. And then, so now we've put it on here and we've put it on here. We've got it on both sides. We've given it a minute to tack up and get kind of dry, actually. Even that last piece I put on right there is dry. It's not even sticking my finger. And it's not sticking my finger there either. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go back one more time with a real small bead right across the top. And it doesn't matter if we do it on this or this. You can pick either one you want to do. I'm just choosing to pick it on the Weatherstrip. And it's another small bead right down the center of where we smeared it. And what this is going to do now, when we put this on, this glue here, it's going to stick immediately and it's going to stick permanently. So we got to make sure we're happy where it is and where we're putting it, because once you put it down, you're not getting it back up. So we're coming over on this side. Make sure that that doesn't go down. There's our first section. So all I'm going to do is fold this back on itself and repeat that same process all the way around. Now I'm going to take this one, I'm going to come around the turn, being a little daring, but we're going to take it over about here to where it starts to straighten out. So I'm going to do the same thing on my Weatherstrip, make sure I get it down low enough. The goal is not to gum it up and put so much on there. All I'm doing right now is checking how far I need to put it. I guess you really can't see what I'm doing here, can you? So I'm just putting a little bit on here and want to make sure that I end up in the same general area where I have the glue on the panel. Now all I'm going to do, I did put it down there because I'm trying to film this and do this at the same time. Don't want to do that. I'm just going to smear this back. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the panel itself. Dries really quick. Just smearing it out so it has a little more contact area, that's all. Put some tape on that just to make sure it holds around the edges. Alright, so now we're just going to continue on around. Alright, so now we made it all the way around the trunk and we're back over here. We've got a little bit of overlap here. And we don't want to cut this so it just barely touches here. As things dry out and heat, it's going to shrink a little bit. So I'm going to cut it about 1/4 of an inch further that way. So when I push them together and glue this edge, it'll stay together, it'll seal up, and we won't have any separation over time. All right, so that's gonna, we don't even have glue on it, and it's pushing together nice. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue that same way we've been doing everything else. Gonna fold this back, put a little bit of glue down the bottom, except this time I am gonna put a little bit on both sides of the ends so they stay sealed together and stay together. So I'm going to bend this over, make sure that the ends go where I want them, and then I'm going to push down right in there. And then those two are sealed together nice and tight. You can see that they're bonding as one. And there we go. There's our weather stripping all the way around. We're going to let this dry for 24 hours, and then we're going to put it on the car. Alright, so if you noticed early in the video when I joined this together, there's a little bit of a smear of glue that got on here, and it dried. And if you try to wipe it up, it dries immediately. So what did I use to remove that? So let me show you. I just used low odor mineral spirits, but mineral spirits basically softens it right up and actually cleans it right off. Just a little bit on a rag. Don't oversaturate it because you don't want to get the glue that's actually holding the rubber down soft, but just clean up the area and it takes it right off. So alright guys, so that's it in a nutshell. I hope you liked the video. I hope this helps for your restorations and your projects. If you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and be sure to check out other videos on this build.